Tonight, more details after a 14-year-old girl is charged with attempted murder, accused of setting a classmate on fire at a Saskatoon high school. Also, life after devastating loss in front of millions of people. We talked to Kyla Thompson about her brave daughter, Bella. Plus, the Riders try to bust out of a winless streak heading into the Banjo Bowl in Winnipeg.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Friday, September the 6th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thank you for watching. A Saskatoon high school student is facing a grave criminal charge and a shocking accusation. The charge, attempted murder. The accusation, setting a fellow student on fire. Alexander Silberman has the story and a warning. The details are disturbing.
At a Saskatoon high school, a show of support for an injured classmate. A 14-year-old girl is now facing charges for attempted murder, aggravated assault, and arson after an alleged attack yesterday. Police say the girl seriously injured another classmate at Evan Hardy Collegiate by lighting her on fire. The victim, a 15-year-old girl, was taken to hospital with serious injuries after being treated for burns at the scene. A student who witnessed the assault and her mother spoke out about the assault today, and they say seeing such a violent incident at the school has left them shaken.
When her hair went on fire, then her body started to light on fire, and she started to scream, and I'm still shaking a little.
Yeah. It was just like unreal, right? I'm not sure how we're going to cope with it, but it's going to take a lot of time.
A teacher at the school was also injured in the incident and treated at the hospital after helping to extinguish the fire. The Saskatchewan Teachers Federation says it's making sure staff have the support they need as they process the violent incident.
Teachers care a lot about their students, and they're going to jump in and do everything they can to try and keep them safe. Ultimately, we should all be coming to schools in safe environments, and these incidents should be prevented.
The victim's family members were visibly emotional, some in tears, as the accused appeared in Saskatoon Provincial Court this morning. The 14-year-old girl facing charges wept through her brief court proceeding and was remanded into custody before her next hearing on September 11th. At the high school, classes remained canceled on Friday. The school's principal announced that classes will remain canceled until Tuesday, giving students and staff time to come to terms with the act of violence. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Saskatoon.
The Swift Current little girl known as Bella Brave passed away in July, devastating millions of people who followed her on social media. But of course, no one is grieving her more than her family. And as they discovered, finding professional help can be challenging. We spoke to Bella's mom, Kyla Thompson, about life after Bella.
We're at Bella's gravesite in Smith Cree. Losing Bella, it's been really, really, really difficult for my husband and myself and our 5-year-old son, Waylon, Bella's little brother. There was so many times when the doctors were like, it's a miracle she's alive, and the amount of surgery she's had and the treatments she's had. And I would always say, you know what, she's been through it, but I can't complain. I can't be angry. My child is still with me. My child's still alive. Like, I would not complain because I've lived in that place where parents have lost their children and didn't get to bring them home. And now I am one of those parents. So it's just like everything I feared, what they were feeling is now what I'm feeling.
I said, stick 'em up, everybody, I'm robbing this place. Drop all.
Mentally being able to have the energy and the physical energy to seek out whatever services we didn't even know at the time was really difficult. And her favorite flower. And that's what pushed me to create my posts on Instagram. And I was just like, how can this be so hard? How can this take so long? It's been over a month since Bella passed, and we still haven't been connected with a grief counselor. I know we're not alone. There are countless parents like us who whose children receive specialized care outside our home province, and yet when it comes to grief support, we hit barriers that seem insurmountable. If I could suggest the best way a bereaved parent could access support, it would go like this. Within 24 hours of a child passing, the caregiver parent is contacted by a grief counselor or coordinator, not left to find one themselves. What I wish I would have been told, and what I've now realized, is within the 24 hours of my child passing would have been so helpful and so valuable if someone could have just said, contact your doctor right away and book an appointment to see them. That could take months or weeks, because then your doctor can set you up right away with counseling services or mental health services. Through the whole process, I just kept imagining a mother or a father or a caregiver that doesn't have the level of support that myself and my husband do, and how horrible that could be for them. If anything, I hope I can help a lot of people. Seeing what my daughter had to go through, really, she showed me what brave means, what brave is.
No, you showed me, Mommy.
I think we helped each other figure it out. You gotta take care of up here too. Stay brave, okay?
Stay brave.
I need to carry on her legacy this way. Her heart has always wanted to help, and so I just want to carry that on for her.
Two years after the tragic attack in their community, Smith Cree Nation is acknowledging the police who captured the killer. It will happen at a special powwow later tonight. Dane Patterson has a preview.
Smith Cree Nation is quiet. Most of the people that live here have traveled north to the powwow grounds. It's the weekend-long annual traditional powwow. It is a celebration, but it comes just a couple days after the community marked a grim anniversary. 2 years ago, 10 people were killed and 17 injured in a mass stabbing attack. Tomorrow will also mark 2 years since the attacker was apprehended on a busy highway more than 100 kilometers southwest of here. Some of those officers who arrested Miles Sanderson are expected to be recognized here tonight. They'll be given traditional Cree star blankets, a special honor bestowed on people for their bravery.
We're bringing in the RCMP to commemorate, more or less honor Heidi Marshall, and she's the one that apprehended Miles Sanderson during the time of his arrest. So we're going to commemorate her, just kind of honor her, to say, oh, thank you for bringing the person in at large. Not many people get those kind of gifts, so it's just to let her know that we're thankful and going forward, so she can know that she's thought of in our nation.
The RCMP says it's an honor to have members recognized by the nation. It says it's also an opportunity to heal alongside community members and survivors impacted by the tragedy. Dane Patterson, CBC News, Smith Cree Nation.
The province's air quality index is between a 2 and a 3 today, but it certainly has not been that way all summer. Environment Canada has issued multiple air quality alerts right across the province. It says Regina and Saskatoon have recorded more smoke hours over the last 2 years than ever before. A smoke hour is a time when visibility is reduced to 10 kilometers or less. A health advocate says the smoke could have serious health implications.
Certainly, we've seen over the years an increase in the days that we have these air quality advisories. We see the negative impact it has on our population, especially those living with lung disease. It's troubling, it's concerning.
Hubick says Lungs Canada has been receiving more calls from concerned citizens about air quality. She says people can get relief by using air purifiers and air conditioners wherever possible. She also suggests wearing N95 masks when the alerts are really bad. It is Banjo Bowl Eve, and after a flurry of entertainment during the Labor Day Classic, the Riders are hoping some new faces in a new place will break their 6-game winless streak. Logan Ferland will start at center while Braden Knoll is playing his first game as a Rider. Langenberg's Noah Zare will make his first career start at right guard. Along the defense, Regina's own Jackson Ford is healed up and back in the lineup for the first time this season. Fresh faces bring fresh confidence and excitement to the lineup in a crucial West Division matchup.
Oh man, I'm thrilled to be out here. Working for 12 weeks on the sidelines was definitely tough, but finally able to strap it up feels good for sure.
Our atmosphere was excellent last week, and we're going into another place where it's a little more hostile now for us. But the energy is going to be the same, and I know they're going to try to come out and put their best foot forwards, and hopefully we got a bigger foot.
Man, I want all that smoke. This is like what it's about. The fans, going crazy and having to use silent because they're so loud, and it's going to be a fun environment to play in. Those are the ones, and those are the ones where as a family unit you gotta tie together and really band together and try and go get a win.
It is a battle of teams going in two different directions. The Riders have not won since July 19th and sit third in the West. The Bombers have won 4 in a row and can take the season series with a victory. Kickoff tomorrow in Winnipeg is at 1 o'clock. Well, despite the summer-like heat that's going to blanket us for the next couple days, it is harvest time in Saskatchewan. And according to the province's crop report, harvest is moving quickly through most areas. Overall, 42% of the 2024 crop has been harvested. The Southwest is leading the pack with 73% done. The Northwest has harvested just 19%. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Global weather monitors in Europe say this summer has been the hottest on record. Their report is filled with data painting a frightening picture of just how far climate change has progressed. Susan Ormiston has the story.
There was a question after 2023's record-breaking heat. Would this summer be similar or cool slightly? Well, according to data released this morning by Copernicus, the European Climate Monitoring Service, summer 2024 was even slightly hotter.
August 2024 was the warmest August on record, on par with August 2023. We are still at record level of global average temperature, and this has been the case for more than a year.
According to their data, we've met or surpassed 1.5 degrees of warming. That was the throttle on climate heat urged in the Paris talks nearly a decade ago to avoid the worst consequences of climate change. But now we've seen the hottest June, the hottest August, and in mid-July, the hottest 4 days ever recorded. Seas are staying warm, holding the heat last year, caused by continued high carbon emissions we're pushing into the atmosphere and by the weather pattern El Nino. Even as that ends, the data shows persistent warming. That trend is up.
It's a warning that urgent action is needed. It's also a sign that as the climate continues to warm, as we reach this global temperature record, we expect more frequent and more intense extreme climate events.
Copernicus also tracked the extreme fire season this summer. Fires in the Northwest Territories, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba pushed carbon emissions in August to their highest levels in over 20 years. From this animation of the data, you can see at the top of the map the intense smoke. It develops into dark red splotches, and that's from Canadian wildfires, the smoke crossing over the Atlantic Ocean to Europe. Copernicus now concludes it is looking more and more likely that 2024 will be the hottest year overall. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Toronto.
This weather update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Regina, proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
Well, that story just read like a disaster movie. Our weather specialist, Ethan William, joins me now. We know how things shaped up this summer around the world temperature-wise. How did we do here in Saskatchewan?
Well, actually, Saskatchewan, a bit of an anomaly when you compare it to what was happening around the world, because if you look at the map here, you can see really we were actually bang on average in June, July, and August, especially in places like Prince Albert and North Battleford and Regina when it came to our temperatures. That's not really because we were just sitting average through the whole summer, though. You'll remember June was cooler than normal, and then we had kind of warmer than normal July and August. So all said, we kind of averaged out right around where we should be, but that didn't necessarily mean that it was an average summer, so to speak. Moisture-wise, a little bit more of a mixed bag here because, June, of course, along with the cooler weather, it was wetter as well, and then July and August just a lot more dry for many of us, and that made it the second driest summer on record for places like Key Lake and La Ronge. But Saskatoon, you actually did not too bad this summer, getting over what you would normally get, and many other places getting kind of within that. But then you look at places like Estevan and Swift Current only getting about half of what you normally see. So it really depends on where we've seen those storms and a little bit of moisture kind of here and there. Now, temperature-wise, this morning, things were quite chilly. We actually had a minus temperature reported in Nipawin, some frost reported east of Yorkton. Temperatures in that part of the province very close to the freezing mark, but that's all about to change because we have very hot temperatures that are starting to build in through western Saskatchewan, and that's going to creep its way eastward through the weekend. But you see here the real kind of divide in temperatures even right now. 30 on the western side of the province, still only at 20 at the moment in places like Yorkton and Hudson Bay. But that ridge that is bringing that hot weather keeps moving eastward through the weekend. Going to pretty quickly start to break down as we get into the start of next work week here. And that is because we have an approaching low pressure system. I'm just going to let this play out because there's really nothing that you need to worry about through the weekend weather-wise in the province. It's this low developing just north of Edmonton. As we get into Monday, this cold front starts developing along the side of it, and that's really going to knock the temperatures down. And you'll see that here in the extended forecast for Regina. Until then, we could get into the mid-30s by the time the weekend is over. Again, it's dry heat, so we're not adding much of a humidex factor to that. And then that big temperature drop Monday into Tuesday before things get a little more unsettled Wednesday, Thursday, and we get back to more seasonal conditions. For our daytime highs anyway, those overnight lows are actually still looking pretty warm. Saskatoon, a trio of 32-degree weather for the next 3 days here. Gorgeous weekend. I think we should avoid heat warning criteria, at least for now, in the Saskatoon area. And then a big drop and even maybe not even cracking the 20-degree mark as we get into Wednesday, Thursday. So, Sam, our summer kind of all over the map temperature-wise, and it looks like this next week is going to be that way too.
But you know what I learned from you is that it's a dry heat because the crops are all off.
Exactly.
So there's nothing give enough moisture to make it a humid heat.
The more you know.
The more you know. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. We have more news after the break. The RCMP have arrested a Toronto area man in connection with a terror investigation in Quebec. The man arrested is a 20-year-old Pakistani national living in Canada. A resident in the area says she saw police with a man in handcuffs on her front lawn and a woman in cuffs on her porch.
They said that it was confidential and they couldn't tell me what was going on. I just saw, the SWAT team vans and the army and the guys all in camouflage with the M16s.
Mountie say they began an investigation with the FBI, which led to the arrest of Mohammed Shazeb Khan on Wednesday. They say Khan was planning to cross illegally into the U.S. and attack as many Jews as possible. The U.S. Attorney General says Khan was allegedly preparing a terrorist attack in New York for October 7th. Student unemployment hit its highest level in more than a decade this summer, aside from the pandemic. That's according to the latest job numbers from Stats Canada. Meantime, the economy also added about 22,000 jobs last month. Employment rose last month in educational services, healthcare, insurance, and real estate. But it was a challenging summer job market for students returning to school in the fall. Between May and August, the jobless rate hit 16.7%, and those numbers impacted Canada's overall unemployment rate. It reached 6.6 last month, up 6.4 in July. A small mining operation in eastern Ontario is being touted as a major breakthrough for carbon capture. It's processing ancient limestone for wollastonite. As Stu Mills reports, the mineral offers a novel way to capture atmospheric carbon and boost agricultural yields.
It might not look like it, but this operation is helping in the fight against global warming. While that diesel engine is emitting some CO2, and so did the equipment that loaded the mineral into the trailer, the net effect here is less carbon in the atmosphere. That's because the ancient fossilized limestone in this mine has a strange special ability. CO2 in the atmosphere will mix with rain that falls on the crushed wollastonite and will form compounds that capture carbon. The company behind the process calls it enhanced rock weathering.
Speeding up the natural weathering process. And this is what balances our climate on the planet anyway. And all we're doing is speeding that natural process up and doing that in a field.
So, while the crushed wollastonite is capturing carbon, farmers like Charlie Foreman hope the calcium and silicon in the soil will make the plants more disease resistant. Ultimately, enhanced rock weathering will let farmers pull a ton of carbon out of the atmosphere for every ton and a half of wollastonite they spread.
If I can say to somebody, you know, we're doing our part to offset the problems that we create with CO2, I feel good about that.
Naturally, there is a lot of interest in the carbon capture potential here. The man behind Canadian wollastonite says what is being done in Eastern Ontario could be scaled up and replicated with other silicate rock deposits right across Canada. They are selling some to steel and cement manufacturers who want to reduce their carbon footprint.
And then this is the same boulders, same material, just bigger slabs.
They're even turning some into kitchen countertops, but it's mainly about the carbon capture.
But the ability to incorporate farmers and the ability to scale using farmers and farmland to capture millions of tons of carbon is unmatched for us.
At Queen's University, environmental policy experts say it's promising, but
the concern is that it does become that excuse that, you know, people figure, well, we can continue to do what we're doing. There doesn't need to be a change in our behavior.
Stu Mills, CBC News, Kingston.
And Ethan's back with one last look at your weather.
And well, we won't have to worry about frost tonight anywhere, really. Already waking up to 14 degrees in Regina by 8 o'clock tomorrow. And again, probably by the noon hour or so, we're already getting close to 30. That is pretty much our daytime high expected. A little bit breezy from the southwest, keeping the smoke out of our area, including for Saskatoon as well. 15 degrees to start the day. A little more cloud cover for you, but then that starts clearing away by the afternoon. Another warm one as well. And of course, it is Banjo Bowl Day tomorrow at Princess Auto Stadium. Well, I put field because that stadium doesn't fit in my graphic there, but it's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Nice cool day or cool afternoon a bit with a mix of sun and clouds. Some wind gusts there, but overall not a bad day for the Riders to beat the Bombers, Sam.
Let's hope that's what happens.
Fingers crossed.
All right, thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
And that's it for us this week. For news anytime, you can always head to our website, cbc.ca/Sask. Subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel or download the CBC News app. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.